when you're talking to your clients that are in that small category, assuming you have some, what are you telling them anything different than you're telling the jumbo clients that you're working with? What would you share there? Any kind of
Yeah, I mean,
guidance?
definitely the kind of those jumbo clients have, obviously they have like almost like a whole star rating department, right? And they have lots of tools that they've developed in-house that are very custom um to their own company. And whereas these smaller plans, I mean, obviously they can't afford to have an entire department dedicated to improving star ratings. So they have to use um vendors for help. And I certainly think that that's a really good thing. I think the last thing, or one thing I've seen some small plans do, and those are the ones that don't really succeed, is they just kind of hope if they just do well that they'll have good star ratings. And I haven't seen that to be the case. That
Mhm.
unlike CMS says, like you do have to be constantly kind of monitoring, responding to anything that you're seeing as you go, to be able to um, be smart about it, address any issues mid-year in order to um, make sure that you're not accidentally dropping to a star rate, or a point, because that can be really hard to come back from. So I think there's definitely a gap there in terms of the advantage these big plans have versus smaller plans. But I think that smaller plans, you know certainly can match those bigger plans if they um, potentially reach out, because to certain vendors, because there certainly are um, you know people, I'm sure you guys work with maybe smaller plans, or maybe consult for larger plans to help them be kind of on the same footing. I'd be curious to know, like, if you see something similar.
I would say yes. I mean, there are distinct advantages for being large, right? I mean, scale with providers being a big one too, right? Like that you have to overcome. But there are ways to overcome that, creative ways if you are smaller, to drive engagement with providers, to drive, innovation internally, to have the right vendors, like you said, even if you don't have your own data science team, right? Having a predictive analytics vendor, that's just one example. But things like that, where there are ways to keep up and to even
Yeah.
even even be ahead, right? But it's
Hmm.
not easy for sure. No, you made some great points.